But let's get into it, y'all. How are we gonna win with money in 2025? Look at me being sloppy. It's early morning episode. I haven't recorded early in the morning. I think I'm gonna start doing back to early morning instead of late at night. I think. My wife was like, "Why are you getting up?" I was like, "I gotta go record." She's like, "You don't record this early." I was like, "I know." All right, y'all. 2025 tax brackets for this one. We're gonna hop into not only Nerd Wallet because I like how their chart is best. For whatever reason, the IRS still just has just plain text of the brackets, but I think it's a lot better for it's a lot easier to visualize the brackets with this chart. So we got the 2025 tax brackets. This will be going to next year. So long story short, the taxes you'll be paying are going to be on the 2024 taxes when we have to file by April 15th of 2025. So this is that bracket. We went over this last year for what this year's bracket will be. But going into next year, 2025, this is going to be the new tax bracket. All right. Again, traditionally, I'm just going to do the math here so I can see here. But usually the single tax bracket and the married filing jointly tax bracket, they're usually double of each other up until you get into the 32% tax bracket. It's like, actually, no, 35 this year. We got 35%. Oh, excuse me. All right. But anyways, as you can see here, so single filing status, 0 to $11,925. Long story short, we live in a progressive tax system. So as you make more money, your money gets taxed at this particular rate. So the tax filing rates are 10, 12, 22, 24, 32, 35, 37. Again, these are marginal tax rates. This is not your actual tax rate. If you want to know your actual tax rate, you have to look at your effective tax rate, which is in short taking how much money you made, how much you paid in total in taxes by looking at how much you're going to pay in these various tax brackets and then dividing that by how much money you're actually getting taxed on. I believe it's either taxed on or your gross. One of the two. Let me see. It's not. My Google is not working for me. Yeah, it's by your taxable income. So long story short, let's say your taxable income. Let's say for whatever reason, for simple math, you itemize and you have $50,000 in deductions, right? And you make $150,000 a year. So you're going to get taxed on $100,000. Let's say in total in taxes, you paid $15,000. So 15,000 divided by 100,000 is going to be 15%. So your effective tax rate was 15%. And let's say you were single, right? I'm just throwing out numbers here. But if you were single, you're going to fall into the 22% because this is what you're being taxed on. So you really would think, oh, I'm in the 24% tax bracket. No, after your deductions come into play, that's actually what you get taxed on and where you actually fall into your tax bracket. For those of you who have side businesses, side hustles, like myself, and you're not, paying taxes throughout the year. Long story short, if you come into like a lump sum of money that has to be taxed for whatever reason, that gets taxed at your full tax rate. So that full tax rate is the percentage where you fall at. So let's say they got $50,000 in deductions, but then they had like some lump sum on New Year's Eve for $25,000. That would put them back into the 24% tax bracket, and they're going to pay the full tax rate of 24% on that $25,000. All right, so a little around $6,000. So under that, around $6,000, you're going to pay your full tax rate on that, because the way it works is they adjust your tax rate when you do your W-4, and when you do your if you pay state taxes, they're going to ask you how much money do you plan on making for this whole year. You tell them you plan on making $150,000, and then so they're going to adjust your taxes so that throughout the year you're going to pay how much they believe they think you're going to owe based off of what you told them, right? I mean, taxes can get complicated, but when it comes to something that has not been taxed, or if you do like 1099, anything like that, you pay the full tax rate if you already have some income, because you have not paid any taxes at all on that money. And so it hasn't been adjusted for that prorated rate that you're going to pay throughout the year. And on top of that, it gets added to the end of your money. So you had 100,000, then you add another 125,000. So if you add, 125,000 here, you're going to land here in that 24% tax bracket. All right. All the tax professionals out there, this is not, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial information, but I'm pretty sure that's close to right, if not exactly right. All the tax people out there, you can yell at me and say where I was wrong. All right. But again, we're all going to pay this single, married, whichever one you file into, married filing separately, had a household. Again, for those who don't know, married filing separately and single, they have identical tax brackets. A lot of times you won't see married filing separately. You'll just see single because they are the exact same. For head of household, again, for those who don't know, head of household is for really beneficial when you make essentially less than, I don't know, $100,000, because once you get over $100,000, you're gonna get back tax at the single tax rate. All right. So for those of you who are head of household and you're making more money, but you're not feeling that tax benefit, that's because, as I said, as you make more money, as it gets added to the end of your income, you're going to pay that. So yeah, once you get over $103,000 for next year, in short, say you get a raise, you feel like, man, I don't feel like I'm making more money. It's like, yeah, because you're getting taxed at the single rate, which is the highest rate. All right. Now, 0 to 17,000, 10%, 17,000 to 64,000, 12%, and then 22% is going to be 64,000, 103,000. That's where you're going to see that benefit. But you know, you're single, parent, whatever it is, you file a household and you're making well over $100,000, if not, $200,000 plus, you're not going to see any tax benefit or taxing you at the single tax rate. Okay, so that's something that everyone needs to be mindful of, that out there filing head of household. But here, when we're looking at this single tax bracket, at 0 to 11,000, almost 12,000, or at 0 to almost 24,000, you're going to pay 10% on this money made. So let's say it's 12,000 for simple math. 10% of 12,000 is $1,200, $1,200. So that's how much you're going to pay in taxes at the federal level. State taxes, there are too many states for me to go over them. But you're going to pay whatever you're going to pay at your state level. This is you're going to pay at the federal level. So everyone who files single and you make $12,000 or more, that is taxable income, you're going to pay $1,200 at least. All right, and then for married couples, it's going to be $24,000, and obviously adjusted for $1,700 for head of household. Then it just continues to go through that. So when you get to the next tax bracket, it's about $12,000 to about $50,000. That's $38,000. $12,000 to $50,000 is $38,000. On the next $38,000 into that you make over $12,000, you're going to pay 12% tax on that. 12 times 38. I don't know. 10 times 38 is 3,800. So it's probably around $4,000 or so that you're going to pay in taxes. All right, now here, the nerd in me wants to know what it is. $4,500. I lied. So $4,500 is you're roughly going to pay in this next bracket. So we're at $1,200 for single. Now we're at $4,500. So now we're at $5,700 that you're going to pay in taxes. All right, once you get through these first two brackets, and then you're just going to continue add it up. And then for married people, it's going to be $2,400 on your first $24,000 roughly, and then 24 to 96 was at 72. So it's going to be another 12% again. I don't know what that is. $8,600. So plus 24. So a little over $11,000 is what you're going to end up paying. And again, a lot of people, married couples, if you know, dual income households, should I say, that are for married couples, you're likely going to be, a lot of married couples, just based off of what the numbers are for income, they're going to fall into this tax range of 23 to 94,000 range, that 12% range. That's where a lot of people actually end up falling into, just based on what the numbers say people's incomes are for married couples. If you're two six-figure income households, you're going to be somewhere likely in this 22 to 24% tax bracket, depending on how much you have in deductions. All right, that's usually going to fall. But again, that's not your effective tax rate. So once you want to find your effective tax rate, you're going to add up everything you pay in taxes, even state taxes, and then divide that by how much you're actually getting taxed on.